how CuChulin got his name. Many 100 years ago, in the time when men first learned to heat and bend the cold, hard iron, Ireland was divided into 4 great kingdoms. Ulster was in the north, home to many brave heroes. Conachar, the son of kings, was king of Ulster, and he ruled from the king's house at the fortress of Macha. Renowned were the heroes of Ulster, and many great fighting men who walked like gods came from all over Ireland to join them and to serve the king. Now in the king's household there was a troop of young boys who were there to learn the warrior's trade. They learned to hunt and track, race, wrestle, and fight, all of the warrior skills. Even at play, they were learning to be brave and strong. Every day the boys' troop played hurley, a game more like war than sport. The clash of the hurley sticks, the rush of the ball, and each team striving to win, like a band of warrior brothers. The bravest, the boldest, the fastest of all the warrior band was Setanta, nephew to the king, son of the king's own dear sister. He was the youngest and the most desperate to prove himself, and thus lived Setanta in the king's house, and all of the heroes of Ulster taught him their skills. Now among the nobility of Ulster, there was the master smith, CuChulin. CuChulin decided to give a grand feast fit for a king, and he invited Conachar to sit in honor. And Conachar chose his best warriors and his chief druid, Cathbad, to join him at the feast of CuChulin the smith at CuChulin's fortress. Dressed in royal robes and splendid armor, Conachar mounted his chariot and prepared to leave for CuChulin's fortress. And Cathbad the druid and Conachar's men mounted in their own chariots and followed behind according to their rank and prestige. As Conachar passed the field where the boys were playing hurley, he noticed his sister's son winning and beating the bigger and older boys, although Setanta was only 7 years old. And so to honor his nephew, Cathbad summoned him to his chariot. "Ride with me to the feast of CuChulin the smith, my sister's son," the king said. "But we have not finished the game," Setanta replied. "I cannot wait for you. Then I will follow the chariot tracks and come after," Setanta suggested. So King Conachar rode on, and Setanta returned to his game. At the fortress of CuChulin the smith, a royal welcome was given to the king and his men. Food and drink and entertainment, the harpers played and the poets recited the deeds of the king and his heroes. CuChulin asked if there was anyone who would be following the king that night, and Conachar said no, for he had forgotten his nephew. And so CuChulin released his great guard dog, which prowled the grounds and protected the fortress. Neither man nor beast could stand against this brute, and he had long protected CuChulin's holdings and his herds. Back at Avonmaca, the boys' troop, their game of hurley ended, and each boy returned to the home of his foster father. And Setanta followed the chariot tracks of his uncle, the king. And to practice his skills, Setanta would strike his hurley ball ahead, and then throw his hurley stick after it, and run forward and catch them both before they touched the ground. And in this way, he entertained himself and made short a longer trip. To CuChulin's fortress came Setanta late in the evening, and the guard dog smelt an intruder and attacked. The little boy Setanta drove his hurley ball down the dog's throat, and then beat the dog with his hurley stick until the dog was dead. Such a ruckus reached the hall of CuChulin, and all knew the cause. Too late, Conachar remembered his nephew and thought him surely dead. The heroes of Ulster crowded the yard, and their cheers rose to the night sky, when by torchlight they saw the hound dead, and the small boy Setanta standing over him. Conachar was very proud of his sister's son, but not so happy was CuChulin the smith. Who will guard my fortress and my home now that my guard dog is dead? Who will protect my flocks and my herds now that their guardian is gone? It is a small matter, said Setanta, for I will guard your fortress and your home, and I will protect your flocks and your herds until you can find a pup and raise a new fierce watchdog to take my place. I will be your dog. And so you shall, said Cathbad the Druid. For from this day forward, you will no longer be known as Setanta, but you will be called CuChulin, the Hound of CuChulin. And thus, CuChulin won his name.